Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time of day it is for you. My name is Justin Coolin, and a whole host of names that I've always really talked about. And I want to talk about something today, as we've seen a lot of this trailer pop up and go around, and people have done their reactions and their initial analysis of it. While this trailer goes on, I want to talk about something that's popped up several times for me, and I dislike it. Unreality is what the Ansem gave the name for any other world than his own. In my previous video, I talked about how I think Quadratum is basically a hub world, a lot like Traverse Town was. And with the name Quadratum, it really does kind of emphasize this point that I'm talking about. And that brings us to a very interesting point. Strelitzia and Sora, we both know, have strong hearts. Those strong hearts has carried them from their reality into a different reality. And I think that's a better word for it. It's not unreality, it's just different. And I kind of talked about it on one of the failed recordings of mine, where I talked about the difference between, let me bring that down just a little bit, where I talked about the difference between the way that we view, about there being the possibility of being hard science worlds. Star Wars is basically a hard science world, believe it or not. Even with the lightsabers and the Jedi magic stuff. The interesting thing comes into whenever we start taking a look at the non-hard science. And again, I'm going to use Inside Out as a great example of it. That world is in a constant flux, and that would actually make a really good counterbalance to one side and the other as we talk about it and we take a further look into it. I think that would work really well for what we're looking at in the next game. Unreality, I think, is a bad phrasing for it. I think people with really strong hearts don't truly die is a really good example of it. Because we've even seen, in watching through the whole trailer again, we see Ephraim there. Ephraim literally continued on into the next part of the universe. So there's a very hard thing that says that this is probably a real thing. But the really big catch is whenever we're taking a look at it, we're seeing a lot of people saying unreality, unreality, unreality. You know, I'm just saying let's avoid using that phrasing for now. Let's use something different, a different reality, different world, because what we're really talking about isn't different worlds. We're talking about different universes. And those different universes is a huge difference between unreality, which is something that has never existed and only exists as soon as you become a part of it, and a different reality, such as an isekai, where you are suddenly transformed to a world that already exists and you're being introduced to it. And those are the two big things that I see here that a lot of people are just going, it's unreality. No, it's not unreality. Where we're not talking about matter and antimatter here. We're just talking about different. It's like saying steel and bronze is the way I view it. And I think that's maybe the approach that we should be taking towards this in this the Lost Master arc. And I don't think the Lost Master, by the way, refers to the Master of Masters. I'm going to get to that one later. That's going to be a different video. But I do believe that we should stop referring to Quadratum as unreality. I just think it's a different reality. You could even, like I said in the other video, you could refer to it as basically a afterlife. Before you're reincarnated, before you end up in a new universe. You go through Quadratum for a number of years, however long it takes for you to get there, and then you find yourself being into the next form of reality. So the question is, could Mickey reincarnate as a regular human in Quadratum? Or, more specifically, could someone like Marluxia or Laurium end up coming to Quadratum after everything is done? Or even better yet, is Laurium already here? Because I'm pretty sure it's just bad phrasing. It's bad phrasing. And it's all done from a scientific point of view, and because the way Nomura writes, it kind of pops out to me more specifically. But with that said, I'm going to wrap this video up because I could talk about this all day long. But I do want to point out that, yes, indeed, I think unreality is the worst phrasing possible. I think it's a transitional reality, which would be a better phrasing. And we're going to see worlds that's going to have these hyper-realism, like this. And we're going to see worlds that probably have cartoony realism. And I still got my fingers crossed on it, like Moana or Inside Out. So just keep that in mind whenever... I know not many creators are going to see my video, but if you do see the video, think about it in different terms other than unreality. Think of it as a new reality or a different reality. Unreality would be a polar opposite, kind of like a coin, when we should probably be looking at something like a 20-sided die. And that is where the big difference comes into. Just because you move from 1 to 2 does not mean there isn't 18 other realities that exist simultaneously next to you in different locations. They keep using the word world, but I don't think world is the right answer for this. And this is going to be a short video. It was just a brief rant about the word unreality. And I think different reality. And that's why this scene right here is so much more important, because you could literally turn around and be in a different reality. And with that, I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time of day it is for you. My name is Justin, Coolimp, and that whole host of names you've never really heard me say, and I want to wish joy to every last one of you.